What's up, everybody? Brothers, sisters, psychonauts, and seekers of truth. It is Ananka, and welcome to my bazaar. Today, I have a Gaboxadol trip report for you. The title of this trip report is Psychonautic Bioassays with the Soporific Enigma, and was submitted to Erowid in 2021 by the user DX Methhead. With all that being said, let our story begin. Gaboxadol has been a compound I've been eager to try since the Vedic psychopharmacological ectomorph Hamilton Morris wrote about in Harper's. Oceanic sleep has been a dream of mine since I was a child. I've been tormented by night tremors for over a decade, and bouts of insomnia have been recurrent throughout my teenage years. Perhaps Gaboxadol could grant me a depth of sleep that could bypass the oniric imagery of me being eaten alive by therianthropic tormentors from the past every night, and give me an opportunity to experience deep sleep. I recently acquired a sample and embarked on some psychonautical bioassays. Noted below are transcripts and translations from my notebook written during and after the experience. Day 1. 18 milligrams oral. 32 minutes after ingestion, a cosmic slumber approaches. I feel reflective, at ease, and majestic. My bed becomes a throne in outer space. I sit looking down on the stars. A sonorant ee crescendos in my eardrum. I approach sleep almost asymptomatically with time, being fully conscious until the sleep penny finally dropped. I wake up just as suddenly as I fell asleep. I felt like no time had elapsed. A deep blue, oceanic sleep that passed in the click of a finger. A cosmic siesta. I'm refreshed and continue with daily tasks fluently, as if on a low dose of amphetamine. The hangover from Zolpidem makes my thoughts feel truncated and dumb. There was no such feeling with Gaboxadol. Day 2. 28 milligrams oral. 15 minutes after ingestion, it appears that sonorant auditory hallucinations mark the psychoactive onset of Gaboxadol, resembling those found when hit in the head or leaving a loud music theater. I have a hypnagogic hallucination in my mind's eye of a scientist that decides, consensually, to eat his friend's leg. He puts him under anesthetic, but punctures one of his arteries during the amputation process and kills him. The hallucination ended here. I have a cigarette. It kisses my lungs with cancerous tar and sardonically grins at me. I top up with another 20 milligrams, totaling to 48 milligrams within half an hour of the first bite. Thoughts are slow-paced, as though caked in toffee. I counteract the sleep by chewing nicotine gum, which was beautifully synergistic, and read The Color Out of Space by Lovecraft, which, too, was synergistic with the ambience of Gaboxadol. Thoughts largely revolved around cosmology at this point. I felt a grandeur to my presence in the room, which juxtaposed the punniness of humans in Lovecraft's story. Perhaps there exists a race of angels known as the Gaboxadolians that approach the sleeper during GBX intoxication, carefully lullabying them to sleep as they balance an outstretched finger onto your philtrum. I stood up and danced robotically to silence for 10 minutes, each move following a logical, defined order and direction. Thoughts became discombobulated, similar to those felt from aryl cyclohexylanes. I'm neither taciturn nor joyful. I simply am. I develop temporary strabismus. I'm cross-eyed, and I remain there for a period of minutes. Angelic/psychedelic ideation flows through me. I cry over H.P. Lovecraft and how I empathize with his loneliness. I kiss his collection of short stories. I peek through my window at the stairs in stupefied amazement. All I can say is, what the fuck? 45 minutes after 20 milligram top-up, I write in my diary. Reading feels scattered, like listening to my mind's voice at 2 times speed spat through a videotape. Squeaked mumbles. I override passages of importance because the pace of reading is too fast. Cosmic tinnitus. Thoughts are syncopated, jumpy, and arpeggio. The color of my thoughts is split through a prism into its constituent parts. I listen to primal snarls and intonations, basic units of the speech of thought. Reminds me of the olfactory domain of ketamine. I felt nauseous at this dose, and placed a bucket near my bed in case I threw up. But nothing came of it. I'm a hypochondriac about my bodily health, so perhaps this was merely psychosomatic. I am a prolific dreamer. I have dreamed almost every night that I remember, and record them in detail, unless I've smoked weed that night, where my sleep becomes tarry and comatose. The dreams during Gaboxadol intoxication were markedly frightening. Undergoing about 3 bouts of sleep paralysis, dreams ranged from drowning in a bath whilst watching my face in a ceiling mirror turn into that of the Linda Blair exorcist, watching a father kill his 2 children in the cinematographic style of a Japanese horror film, in which I was initially a passive observer directing the movement of the camera, gradually becoming a victim of the father's murderous rampage. To me, forming a group named AMT, All Man Tryptamine Association. The series of experiments took place over a fortnight. It became clear that I was markedly more alert in the mornings after a structurally sound sleep. I began to understand the pharmacokinetic portrait of Gaboxadol, scheduling its ingestion into my daily timetable. Higher doses were almost psychopharmacologically synonymous with 60 milligrams insufflated ketamine. Although the bodily effects of Gaboxadol were serene, whereas I find those of ketamine to be quite abrasive, like rubbing dried bone marrow on bone marrow, or screeching chalk on a blackboard. I spent many hours writing under its influence, mostly in praise of the fact that I am one of the few Homo sapiens that have tasted its essences. The lore of the Gaboxadolians became all the more richer. They were now crystalline beings, utilizing humic organic syntheses to further their propagation. Further, before falling asleep without fail, I would get an erection. I doubt with absolute certainty that GBX has any influence on PDE5, so I cannot explain this phenomena in biochemical terms. This report isn't enough to cover the full breadth of my experience with this compound. My plan for my postgraduate thesis was to work on DIPT analogs, but my experience with Gaboxadol have been enough for me to question that quite thoroughly. In conclusion, Gaboxadol is an unparalleled hypnotic, and one that I will forever savor in my psychopharmacological vocabulary. Alright, everybody. That is the end of our story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Share with us your Gaboxadol experiences down in the comments. Check out the other playlists on my channel, and I will see you in the next one, fam. Deuces.